Welcome to Mr. R's art class. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thumbs, subs, and ring that bell. So for this project here, we're going to go ahead and create a project from beginning to finish, right? So we're going to start with a planning process. We're going to come up with characters that you create that are fictional, or you could be based off of yourself. So this is going to be like a Minecraft avatar character that you're going to come up with. So the first way that we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and come up with a plan of what this character looks like, acts like, how they dress. It could be based off of you again, or it could be based off of a fictional fake character. And we're going to go ahead and plan this out in a 2D, something flat, right? So I provided these images here for you. So we're going to use a paint bucket inside of Paint. Then we're going to use something called Tynker, so Tynker, not Tinkercad. And we're going to recreate that character inside of Tynker. And then what we're going to do lastly is that we're going to go ahead and transfer that image into tinkercad.com. So again, this is going to be a bigger project here. We have to learn how to be a little bit more organized. The reason why we're doing this project is so that we could, again, demonstrate how to plan a project and how to execute it, and actually how to bring it into something that's actually physical, right? So we're going to take this from an idea. We're going to take this project from an idea. We're going to go through a thought process, and then we're actually going to create these characters inside of Tinkercad, and then possibly be able to print these out using the 3D printer. So we're going to go from a planning process to actually creating these in a 3D program and then printing these out as well. So let's go to get started. So for this project, we need to download several different files that are inside this assignment. So the first thing we need to do is we need to download the avatar traits PDF. We're going to save that to our computer. We're also going to go ahead and download all of these PNG images here. So the back, the front, the side, the top, the bottom, blank PNG. And then we're also going to use these two website links that we have inside of this assignment. So let's go ahead and download all of these documents here. I'm going to start with the avatar traits. I'm going to click on this little ellipse, these three little dots, click on download, and the same thing with these images. So we're just going to download them all now. And we should end up with 5 different attachments. Let's go into our downloads folder. So I'm going down here to the bottom left. I'm going to click on the File Explorer. And then on the left hand side, I'm going to click on the downloads link. You can also find it here. So downloads link. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5 files that we downloaded, those should be there. I'm going to open up a similar window to this. So I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard and tap the letter N. So I'm going to open up a similar window. And then I'm going to go ahead and click and drag to where my mouse hits the right side of this. So I'm going to put these windows side by side. And now it's asking me what do I want on the left hand side. And I'm just going to click the other File Explorer window. Alright, so then I have those 5 files there. These windows are going to look similar. One of them I'm going to stay inside of the downloads folder. This folder over here, I'm going to go and create a folder for this specific project. So this is why we make these folders for these specific projects, because we're going to start having some more files for the same project. So over here I'm going to go into Documents, click on the academic year that we're currently in, click on the period that you have my class, then the semester that you have my class, and then we're going to create a folder for this project here. So for this project, we could just call it Avatar. So I'm going to right click, scroll down to New, click on Folder, and I'm just going to call this Avatar. Alright, so this is just some of these files here are going to help us plan for our avatar that we're going to create. So I'm going to hold down, I'm going to click on that top one, and hold down Select, and hold down Shift, and then click on the bottom one, and that's going to select all of them. I'm just going to click and drag these 5 files into my avatar folder. So it's going to move all of those over, and those should all be inside this avatar folder here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so these are the images that we're going to use inside of Paint. This first one here, so we don't need this window anymore. I can click off of that or close it. I'm going to open this up here. So these are, again, I'm in my avatar folder. So this is the first file that you want to work off of, is the avatar trait. So this is the beginning of your planning, right? Before you even know what your character is going to look like, we're going to click on this PDF. And you want to make sure that you save this. So File, Save when you're editing this. So that's why we downloaded it. So you're just going to answer all these different questions here. How old is your character? What's your character's name? Are you creating a character based on yourself or a fictional person? And then, so you're just going to answer all these questions here. So again, this is part of the planning process, right? Before you even know what your character looks like, you're kind of creating a rough idea of what that character is going to look like before you even start drawing what that character looks like, right? So I'm going to make my character based off of me. So maybe how I normally dress at school or how I dress at work. Alright, so you're going to fill this out, save it, and then you can use this as a reference, right? I know we're creating a Minecraft character, so you're going to try to copy these characteristics as much as possible using these different pixels. Right, so you would fill out this form and you would use it as a reference if you're kind of stuck on what your character is going to look like. Alright, so this will be the first part that you want to complete. And then you have these images here. Right, so these are PNG files. You could click on these if you want to see what they look like, but what you want to do, where you want to open these up at, is in Paint, regular Paint. So down here in the bottom left hand corner where it says type here to search, I'm going to click in Paint, not Paint 3D, regular Paint. And I'm going to go up here to where it says File, click on Open, and we need to go to that folder for this project. So again, that's why it's important for us to create these folders for these projects so we know exactly where to go to find these files. So Documents is where we start off. Then in the academic year that we're currently in, the period that you have my class, the semester we're currently in, and then the folder for the project. And I'm going to go ahead and start with maybe the front image here. So I'm going to click on Open. And so what I did is I created this pixeled image of what a Minecraft character would look like. You could use this bucket here to drop in colors into these different squares. So careful with the darkest color, because if these lines are black here and I have the black colored paint, and then you want to change the color later, what's going to happen is it might change this grid line here. So what you want to do is, if I'm going to use black, I'm going to try to find a color that's a little bit lighter than black. So I could kind of show you what would probably happen here. So because this grid line here is black, let me just zoom in here so you can see what I'm seeing. So if this grid line's black, and then if I change the color, let's see if I erase that based on the bucket, it gets rid of that grid line because that grid line was connected to the black, right? So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to use black, maybe find a value that's a little bit lighter than black. So let me go ahead and undo these two last steps. So there's the undo button up here. Undo, 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 undo. And then there's my grid there. So again, the reason why that happened is because I had the color black selected. This grid was black, and so when I tried to change it back to white, it got rid of my grid because that grid was connected to that black color there. So when you're choosing a black color, maybe find something that's a little bit lighter than black. So let's go down and do that. So again, this is the front view of my character. This is the front view of my character. So this would be the head, these would be the arms, and then these would be the beginning of the legs, and then this will be the chest, and then the lower body here, or the midsection, and then the legs down at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and explore the other files. So I'm going to click up here where it says File, click on Open, and then I'm going to click on this back image here. So it's going to look very similar because it's the same character but from the back. Right, so it's going to look exactly the same. So this is going to be the back version, so don't confuse them. Don't confuse them, right? So since this is going to be the back of my head here, since this is going to be the back of my head here, did I just, yeah, I painted that in by accident. So since this is going to be the back of my head, maybe the hair will come a little bit lower here, right? I'm going to go show you some of these other images. And then we have the side image. Let me go and zoom out so you can see what that looks like. So this will be either the front of my face, or this could be the front of my face. This will be where my hand ends here. So again, this is us looking at our Minecraft characters from the side. These would be the legs, and then these would be the feet down below. So this is the head, the top of the head, the neck, the chest area, midsection, and then the legs. So take a look at some of this writing that I wrote inside there. So over here it says hand, so that's where the hand would be at this line, and then down at the very bottom says foot, so this would be where your shoes are at. And let's look at that last file. So let me go ahead and describe why this looks like this. So, but this is a top view, right? So we're looking from the top view of our head, right? So this is the top of our head. We're pretending this is the top of our head. So then these would be our shoulders here, right? So this would be our right shoulder. This will be our left shoulder. So again, we're looking at it from the top, right? And this will be the front of the face. If this is the front of the face and they're looking at us, right? This will be the right shoulder, and this will be the left shoulder. This will be the back of the head here. So I colored this so that you know the different parts of what we're looking at. So that's why this red here would be the top of the head, and then these will be shoulders. And then so again, you want to look at this writing that I wrote in for you. Scroll down here. So this will be us looking from the bottom up to our body, right? So this will be our feet. So this will be our feet. So this will be the bottom of our right leg. This will be the bottom of our left leg, and then these will be our hands here on our sides. So the blue would be our hands. This will be one leg here, and then this will be the other leg. So that's why I made them slightly different colors so you knew where one shoe ended or one foot ended and the other foot began. So it's slightly different colors so that you would know that. But these would be looking at the bottom of our hands, right? So if we're looking up at our body. All right, so that's why these are different colors here so that you could figure out which colors these should be. So let me show you a couple different ways you could do some color selection here. So we're going to go back to the front of our body, just kind of show you how to get started here. So if my hair is black, I'm going to go here to edit colors because I want a slightly different color than just regular black. So I have black selected. I'm just going to go down here if I want something slightly lighter than black so I don't mess up those lines that I have. So this would be my hair. And again, I have the paint bucket tool. And let's say that my hair goes to maybe there. Then I have hair on the sides that you could see. These could probably be my ears, so maybe I might undo those last two. Right, those would be my ears, and then this will be my skin here. So maybe you want to pick a color that's slightly skin tone, and then click on Edit Colors, and you can find something around there. So my skin tone is around here somewhere. You can play with the slider to find something closer to your skin tone or the skin tone of your character. So I'll choose something like that. Hit OK. And then I'll just fill this all in. So you have to click on these individually. You can also tap on it on your screen if it's touchscreen. And then I'll go back and add the eyes. So again, this is just still the head, or my head here. Let me zoom out. So these would be my arms. And then this will be the mid section of my body. So I normally wear a tie, so maybe we could, maybe I wear a black tie all the time. So this could be the beginning of my black tie. Right. Let's see, this could be my colored shirt. This could be my hands down here. So what you could do is if you have a color already, and maybe it's not showing up on your color palette, you could use this eyedropper tool or this color picker. Click on that, and you could click on a color you already used if it's not showing up here inside of your selected colors, and you don't want to try to guess which color it is. Maybe you have a friend, somebody sitting next to you, and they have a color that you really like, maybe for a shirt, and maybe you want to use it for the color of your shoes, right? So you could go over here to Edit Colors, and you could use these numbers here. You could copy the numbers over to your Edit Color palette, and it should give you the exact same color, and then you could add a color that you like into your custom colors, and it'll bring it over here to this section, and then you can use those colors. So let's say I want to use, let's say I want a blue here for my shirt. Let's say I like that blue. Right, so you would copy these numbers to get that blue. Red, green, blue, your hue, your saturation. So you can add that, and there's that blue there. Hit OK, and now my blue's down there. And then I can use my paint bucket for my shirt. Maybe I want there to be like a gray line here, right? So you could tell where my arms end. So maybe I want to do this gray. Or it could even be let's see, let's color select here. Let's say I want a different darker blue for these different folds or these creases inside of my shirt, so you could tell that there's some dimension to my character. So we could go ahead and color select. I'm going to use this eyedropper tool, choose the old blue that I had. I'm going to go into edit colors, and I'm going to copy these numbers here. So 56, 133, and 226. So 56, 133, and 226. And I'm going to click over here on the custom color. So this is where I want to place that color at. I'm going to go back to red, green, blue. I'm going to delete those numbers, and I'm going to type in that 56 that I wanted. In that green, it was 133. And then in that blue, there's 226. And there's the same blue that I have here. But again, like I said, I want to make it darker because I want there to appear that there is a crease here, or a fold, or the separation between my arm and my body. So clicking OK. And now I have that darker blue. Right, so the darker blue could also be over here on this side. So you want to make these two sides symmetrical, so anything on the left hand side is the same as the right hand side. Again, this whole shirt here could be that blue that I had. I have that blue already here. So I can continue coloring this in. Maybe this darker blue could be where the color's at here. So let's see, I'm going to continue doing this here real quick. So whatever works for you, right? So you should be able to zoom in on this image. So if I zoom in and you have a touch screen, you could just tap these squares to color in. You don't have to just click on everything. So now I'm just tapping on my screen here and these little white squares to fill it in with a paint bucket. And then my pants are usually black. So I'll also make those probably the same color as my tie. Shoes are usually black. This is probably where my hands are at here. Belt is usually black as well. Let me zoom out. I could probably go a little bit higher here for my armpit. So I got that darker color, paint that in, and then I said I was going to add a collar here. So maybe that could be my collar. So again, try to make this as symmetrical as possible, right? So I have two lighter squares here, two lighter squares, and then the darker ones are symmetrical. So if I fold this, the left side over the right side, it should be the same on both sides. Let's see, I could grab the color, the skin tone. Maybe these two could be hands here. Alright, and like I said, I usually have a belt buckle. This could be the same color as my tie. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe these middle two here could be a little bit lighter or darker, showing the fold, or where my two legs separate if you want. So I'm probably going to get a lighter black. So I'm going to go back to edit colors. I'm going to click on one of these custom colors here. Looks like my other custom color disappeared. So I'm just going to click over here just in case. So right now I have, since I clicked on custom colors, it went directly to white. So if this slider doesn't work for you and you're looking for a darker color, what I did is I clicked on this main spectrum here, and I just clicked this little crosshairs and moved it around. So again, I'm trying to find a darker, maybe like a gray black here, and then add a custom colors. This is gonna be the color of my pants. It's like a charcoal gray. So fill in all of those. And then maybe I could use this black here for my shoes. I'm just gonna tap on the rest of these. Seems to be a little bit faster than just clicking. So now I'm just clicking on my screen because it's touch screen. It seems to go a little bit faster. So sometimes the mouse is better in some situations, and then in other situations, sometimes having a touch screen works out. I'm going to go back and change these shoes here in a second. So I'm going to go back and grab this darker black here from my belt. Maybe I could add a belt buckle there, right, to make it look like more like a belt. Make these shoes darker. Again, you don't want to choose an exact black, because then you're going to get rid of that grid if you make a mistake. So I usually have like a silver belt buckle, so maybe we could do that there. And then sometimes I have a clip on my tie. You're not going to see the buttons because those are usually hidden. Alright, so let's zoom out. So this is my nearly completed version of me, what I look like. Right, so you would do this from every single angle, right? This is the front angle. We would do this from the back view as well. We would try to figure out what the back view of you would look like, or your character would look like. So let me go and save this. So right now it's saved as front blank. If you want that blank version to stay blank, you want it to save as, so front, I'll put Mr. R here. And it's just saying that I'm going to lose transparency will be lost if you save this image. I am okay with that. So that's my front view. So now what we're going to do is we need to go back to Teams. Let's pretend that we have, again, we did have several documents here, that we have the side view of your character complete, we have the back view, we have the top, bottom, and shoulder part of our character completed. Now what we got to do is let's go back to Teams. So let's go back here, and then now what we're going to go to tinker.com. So we can go and click on this website here, and we're going to create our character, our 2D image of our character, and we're going to start creating it here inside of Tinker, not Tinkercad. We're going to use it on Tinker. So let's click on, I'm going to click on Steve here. You could click on New to start over if you like. So you could click next to your character and then move your mouse around and move your trackpad around to rotate your character around. And you can focus on different parts by activating or deactivating these different parts here on the right hand side. So you can also pinch on your screen to zoom in, but it's also going to get rid of all these other parts here as well. So when something's erased in Tinker, it does go straight to black. Maybe you don't want to erase everything. Maybe you want to undo that and just use Steve or any character in here as a reference, right? So this will be where your eyes are, your nose, your mouth. If you rotate the character around, if you rotate this Steve around, you can see where the ears would be. So maybe you don't want to erase everything and start fresh. You might want to use it as a reference, right? So I want my image here on the right hand side of Steve that I'm going to use. And so what I did is I clicked and I dragged my window to the right. Now it's asking me what I want on the left hand side. I'm going to click here. So my hair is black, right? So I'm gonna blacken these up here. My paint bucket selected. Black is selected here. Just changing the hair black. I'm going to rotate the character around. This will be black here. Let's pretend I went all the way around. And then I'm going to change my skin tone. My skin tone here is maybe something around this orange. So you can click on a color and then it gives you the slider to find variations of that color. Oops. So some of the skin tones I usually grab are from the oranges, between the red, the oranges, and the the yellows here are where I usually grab my skin tones from. So that looks kind of close to what I have over here on the left hand side, so I'm okay with that. Make sure you have your paint bucket selected. Make sure that you're really zoomed in and don't have a different color selected. So let's see. Because that's a similar color, it's changing the whole color of my hair, so you got to be careful with that. So I'm going to hit the undo button. Let's see. Might change the color of my hair here for a while. And then I'm going to delete those, grab my skin tone, paint bucket. So if you, with the paint bucket, if you select a color and it's connected to a similar color, it's going to change anything that's connected to it, so be careful with that. And then my eyes are dark brown, or they could be black as well. And then probably now is a good time for me to change my hair. And then I would add the mouth, right? So that's just the head part. I'd still need to go in and change the body. I'm going to zoom out or pinch out, make this full screen, and I can activate the body and then change that to look like the tie and suit that I normally wear. Right, so I would just change the body. But so you could use any character that they give you inside of Tinker as a reference. Let's say you're ready to save. You have to give it a name, so create skin name. I'm just going to call this Mr. R. Save skin. And it's going to say not saved, right? So I need to log in. I'm going to log in here. And what I want you to do is when you log in, you could log in as a student, and then down here at the bottom it's going to say log in with Microsoft. So log in with Microsoft. This should be pretty similar. So I'm going to log in as a teacher. And then, so Microsoft, I'm going to log in with my school ID and password. And then same thing should happen for you. Let me go back real quick to see what it looks like if you log in as a student. All right, so I went back here. I'm in Edge. I'm going to see what it looks like for you if you're a student. So I'm going to save skin. It's going to ask you to log in. So you need to be logged in, or I need to give you a class code in order for you to be able to save your projects. So I'm going to log in. So as a student, you could sign in with your Microsoft ID. So click on that down there at the bottom. And then on the left-hand side here, you could go to where it says My Projects. It's also going to ask you for a class code. I'll give the class code. Each period's different, so let me know and I'll put the code up for you for Tinker. And then up here, you can have some tabs here that are going to say Minecraft. You want to click on the one that says Minecraft, and then you'll be able to find your character there. All right, so once you have an account, there's going to be a share option and then a save option. So I'm going to click on save. Let's pretend like I'm done here, right? Like my character would have a suit and all that. So it went to my downloads folder. So I got to go back to my downloads folder. These are the files that I've been using. This one has been edited. I'm going to open up another file explorer window. Click new. I'm going to go to the downloads folder. There's the image there that I downloaded. This is what you're going to download from Tinker. And you can click on that, and your skin's going to be kind of laid out differently. Right? So this is actually if your character was opened up and laid out into a flat piece, like if we're going to make this out of origami or out of a box, this is what it would look like once this loads here. And you could upload this one for that project. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to go into tinkercad.com. So we could close this out pretending that we have finished our Tinker character, and we need to try to create our character inside of Tinkercad. So we could go back to the assignment, and then this will be the last part of the project here. So we're going to go to tinkercad.com, click on that, And then you want to make sure that you sign in as well. So make sure you're signed into Tinkercad. You can look over some of these instructions here on the left-hand side, but we've pretty much went through all of these. These last ones, these last few steps here, so 6, 7, and 8, are going to make sure that you know how to use Tinkercad. We've gone through some tutorials already, so I think you're ready to get started. So go ahead and read through some of these instructions here, so 6, 7, and 8. And then you could go to classes and sign in. I'll give you your class code. And then you can create a new design. And you can start using these blocks here to recreate your character. So for this top part here, it's mainly just a block or box. And you might have to go full screen on this here to get the main idea of what your character is going to look like. Gonna give it some height. You might have to rotate it around a little bit. And then I have this middle part that's about the same width as my head here, and then I'm gonna add some shoulders. So I'm gonna add another box. Make this screen a little bit wider. All right, now I need to add the arms. So again, you could use the same boxes here. Use these arrows to lift them up. Change the views if you have to. So maybe the width of this arm here is 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this arm here should be about half of what my body is. So this should be about half. These arms can be a little bit shorter. Since both arms are the same width, I could copy, then paste. I'm just hitting the right arrow on my keyboard to move it over. And the legs are pretty much the same width as the body, so I could copy this as well. I want to lower it though for the legs. Maybe you also want to make these legs here not just one block, right? You want to make them separately. That's one leg. And then the second leg there. Alright, so for the most part, that is what this body would look like. You could add squares on top of this, right, to give it some dimension. So if the hair needs to probably come a little bit out here, so I could add some of these different shapes to make the appearance of hair. I'd still also need to change the color tone of some of these. Maybe the hands could even be separate from this arm here. So we could change the color of those too. So we could probably move this hand a little bit up. I could copy this, paste. Let me scoot over. Gonna move it down though. Make it shorter. This is gonna be the color of my. This is gonna be my hand here. So find that same skin tone. Anything you do on the left, you could do on the right hand side. Let's see. So this needs to change as well. I'm trying to find a similar skin color or shirt color. And then this gives you a hex, right? So you could copy and paste this if you want to use this color for something else. So control copy, let's see, right click, copy. Right, this is still the color of my shirt. So this is where I would paste. So delete, control V, there's that same color blue. Pants are black. Or almost black. Just copy and paste that over. Hair, what you could do with hair, copy this head, paste it, scale it up just a little bit. So I'm going to grab a corner to scale it up. Alright, I'm going to grab another cube here. So the original cube. Copy and paste that as well. Let's see if I can line them up. From the front view. And what I'm doing is with the other head that I made, I'm bringing it forward. And I have the original head that's here, you can barely see it. This is going to be the color of my hair. And then this, I'm gonna make this the whole. I'm gonna group this color. I'm gonna make it black so it looks like my hair, and I'm gonna group it with the hole here. Oops. Let's see. I'm gonna group it. All right, so it looks kind of like the hair there. So you want to play around with that. You can probably even scale this back a bit so the hair's not coming up as 4, so you want to bring that hair back a bit. So play around with different ways to come up with your hair, with your character. You could export this. Let's pretend that this is done. Right, I have my tie added. So try to make everything 3-dimensional. I know in these, even in the Tinker website, right, not everything's as 3-dimensional as how we're creating it inside of Tinker. So try to get creative with these shapes as much as possible. Like we did with the hair here, we used the different hold, and then we also used the group characteristic. We can bring some of these walls back a bit to kind of flush out some of these shapes. So I still need to change the leg, maybe copy and mirror this arm here, add my belt buckle. Maybe add the eyes here. Should also be some rectangles or some circles. So try to make it as similar as your plan that you came up with inside of Paint, right? Or as similar as the character that you came up with inside of Tinker. So let me show you how to export this real quick. So you could go to export. You could also click on send to and take a screenshot. So let's do that. And it's going to send it to our downloads folder. So I'm going to put Mr. R Tinkercad. So I know where this file came from. I could probably even zoom out so you can see the whole image. So maybe send me a zoomed out image of your character, not all the way. I want to be able to see the full arms, legs. So send to, I'm going to have a second one, right? You can just send me one of them though. I'm going to go back to my File Explorer. I have my 2 windows already open still. So my downloads folder and then my project folder. I'm going to bring those over. And let me just get rid of one of these here. So I just deleted it. So you're going to send to me 4 files from Paint, your traits, your avatar traits, the characteristics, your plan, your PDF, and then you're also going to send me the file that you downloaded from Tinker, so Tynker, and then the image from Tinkercad. So altogether you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 files, right? So I have 8 files here. It's only because I have this front image of me and then this blank version of where I started out with, right? So let's pretend that these are all completed and finished and ready to send out. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 files. So you would go back to the assignment, scroll down to the bottom where it says attach those 7 files, make sure they're inside of a folder so that they're organized for you, and then go ahead and turn in the project. So if you have any questions of how to create some of your characters in Tinker, inside of Paint, if you're having trouble locating some of your files inside the downloads folder, go ahead and let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.